So, what is the plan? I've got multiple layers here so this is the initial layer of the audience. No, it is not finished. It's the base layer. This is the stage, which I'm going to have to redo entirely because while I was doing those ones, I didn't cover it. Classic blunder. So I've got splatters of dark stuff that I didn't want on there. Now it's on there, I'll repaint it, don't worry. The upper layers of the theatre are what I'm going to be working on today. What is that going to require? Your mate, masking tape. So I'm going to choose what layers I'm going to focus on today. Obviously I can't do them all at once because the masking tape will cover like a portion of the area that I'd be working on. So I'm going to do it in like 2 or 3 goes. And I'm going to be covering the area that I've already worked on with a bunch of cardboard. So once I move up further, I can't exactly cover the wet stuff with the cardboard because, yeah, I'll let you work that one out. So yeah, I'm going to throw some masking tape down on the areas and mix a few colors beforehand. And then yeah, it's going to take a few more sessions to get this one done. And then if I factor in good old procrastination, I would say this will take another couple of weeks before it's done. So we'll see. I don't know if I've done too much preface with this painting. I've only mentioned it in other videos working on other paintings, and I've kind of talked about it a little bit, but you haven't really seen it yet. So you're kind of looking at like a portion of it. But as I mentioned, it is going to be a theatre full of people watching an orchestra on the stage. I haven't decided whether I'm going to do the orchestra. I don't think I am. It's going to be a lone conductor up there. Center stage with just, yeah, a bare stage with a lone conductor conducting no one, with a theatre packed full of people, and the people are just, it's going to be like a suggestion of a crowd with the splatter, energy. Yes. And then when I think of other things to say about it, I'll probably just start recording again. Other than that, I'm going to just throw on a time lapse. We've done a few layers on this. And then I did the intricate top third of this painting, which required a bit of masking tape. So I think it's dry, mostly, 90% dry. So I'm going to remove this cardboard and inspect it further once I stand it against the wall and see if I can peel the masking tape off. Yeah, I'm just gonna see what's going on. See how it looks when I've got it up against the wall. Well, I've got it upright because everything so far has been on the ground. And I will still need to continue for a little bit on the ground. I'm gonna redo the stage. And then the bits that I pull off, when I pull off the tape, there will be bits that show the layer underneath. And then I'll do a final kind of splatter over that. So then that disappears, but it'll give me my strict lines of what I'm actually trying to portray. The different layers of the theatre, the different levels of the theatre, I should say. So yeah, I will throw on a time lapse, it'll probably be more interesting. So that's what I'll do. Alright. am I in frame? I think I'm in frame. I didn't want to sit right in front of it. So, I'm going to do like a light brown. This is kind of a blue. Well, it's a white and grey, but it gives off a blue vibe to me, and it does not match. They feel like three separate areas when it is the same room. So, problem. So we're going to redo the stage, and I'm just going to peel off the masking tape here, here, no, here, 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 and here, and here. Is there 5? No, there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. There is 5. I'm not going to touch that one. I don't think I'm going to... whatever. Whatever. Alright, I'm going to pull this off. This will be satisfying, so that's why I wanted to record it. So I think my thinking behind putting the masking tape where I put the masking tape was, we've got the initial crowd, and then this is like the walkway where it connects on the ground floor. This is the first kind of barrier on the first level, on the first mezzanine. And this is the crowd on the first mezzanine. And I did the tape over this area to make this distinct, so I have that continuous line, and then I'm going to go over this area and splatter in some dark, which would be like some dark shadowy figures sitting in there. So hopefully it'll be something like this, a little bit more so like this as well. So go back over that, cover that, and then cover that and that, and then just re-splatter them. And then I think I'm just going to leave these areas and paint them in myself. Yeah, so I need to put on the masking tape again, re-splatter, redo the stage, paint in these areas, and then kind of bring out shapes in these panels so you can kind of tell what it is. Initially, before I started this painting, I was going to do splatter and then carve out figures in the crowd so you could almost see individuals, heads and shoulders and things like that. But I don't think I want to do that. One, that'd take forever. And two, I think it looks cool like this. Because it's just like, it's energy. It's just a suggestion of a crowd of people. But I mean, when you think about human beings, like what are we? We're just like condensed molecules and atoms and particles anyway. So that's kind of like what that is. But long story short, I think I'm just lazy. So it's just gonna leave it like this. Yeah. Okay, so where are we? This is where we're at. Where are we? This is where we're at. I'm about to mix a very light brown to do the stage because this is kind of like a bluey grey, does not go with the background. It is a cooler tone. The background is very warm. We need to make sure that they look like they're in the same room because they are. Bear in mind, that is the first thing I did when I started this painting, so it's morphed and it's evolved, and we kind of just need to balance things now. These areas are, so I think I already said this in my previous video, but I'm going to say it again just to kind of help me remember where I'm at. Ground level, first mezzanine, second mezzanine, third. These are like the front panel of each story. Once I remove the tape, I kind of realize they're very bright. They don't need to be that out there. Can you even tell what they are? Like with zero context, looking at it, can you tell what it is? My argument would be kinda, but I need to refine it more so that it's just very obvious what it is. I think bringing in the stage at a better color, once you get the contextual reference of the conductor, I think that'll help. When this looks not so terrible and I make it look quite uniform, that'll look better too. But the danger is overpainting it. And I do that quite frequently, I feel. Well, I don't know if it's overpainting, it's more just being satisfied with it at this stage. We've kind of less done to it. And then when I start to refine things and make things look exactly like I think they should be, it almost takes away from what it was to begin with. So I got to tiptoe around that line. But obviously we're not there yet. So the next two stages, which I'm going to do one now, is get the stage looking a lot better. I'm just going to do a coat of white, very light brown, pretty much white, just to warm it up a bit. And then I might put it back on the ground and do, so I like this splatter on the stage. It kind of makes it look like it's all in the same room, like I said. So I'll do a bit of that, and then the next stage would be to this area. So it's like the walkways into the seats, and then there will be like doors, entrance points around this kind of walking area from the seats. I think once those are complete, it might start to look a little better, and then I will have to sort out that top third. But we'll see how much refining it requires, because less is more. For me, almost always less is more. Maybe that's my lazy opinion, but with my style of painting and the type of work, my best work has always been less is more. The more I kind of change things and think it needs more, needs this, needs that, it just gets worse. So yeah, I think that's where we're at. I don't know if that was too helpful. Speaking of less is more, try saying less. Probably be more. So I'm going to leave it there.
haven't spoken about this piece a whole lot in general, but I also haven't recorded a long form video in a while. Maybe a week or so, maybe 2, don't know. Regardless, I'm just thinking out loud here. I did not prepare anything before. I just finished working on this section, so I've been doing it in the 3 sections: the stage, the initial audience, and then the stands above it. But it was quite red to begin with, and I liked the idea, but I thought the colors were just wrong. The color palette was not, it didn't bring theater vibes, and then I had like red, and then the front panels were like really bright yellow, and it just didn't fit. So I just redid it. Work in progress. But just thinking what this painting embodies. What am I expressing through this painting? What narrative am I telling? I think there's a few answers to that question. My initial idea when I started this painting was the concept of, in order to lead an orchestra, you must turn your back on the crowd. You don't necessarily have to lead a group of people like an orchestra or any sense. It's to lead an orchestra, but it's also, if you want to do anything worthy in life, worthy of your time, worthy of greatness, or whatever your aspirations are, you must turn your back on the crowd, because people, it just doesn't matter what other people think. You follow your inner guidance, and to do anything great and to do anything worthwhile, you must turn your back on the masses and on the crowd and just let them watch it unfold. Prove them wrong if that's what it is. Or so there's the element of turning your back on the crowd, but also I've been listening to quite a bit of classical music recently, and the point of music is not to arrive, it's the journey. The point is to play. You don't work an instrument, you play an instrument. Same with painting. You don't paint to finish an artwork, you paint for the process, you paint for the sake of it, the journey, the experience, expressing oneself, and the product of your self-expression is the end result of the painting. And you decide when that is, if you want to keep working on it or if you want to leave it as it is. So I'm just playing with this piece like a piece of music. And yeah, I've been listening to a lot of classical while I've been doing this piece, and it's been, I don't know, euphoric to be painting it. And just the longer I've been working on it, the more I'm becoming in tune with what I'm actually trying to get out onto this. So I think this middle layer, it always changes. I say this in every long form video. It's once I finish working on it, how much does it change between when I finish working on it and it drying? It varies based on how much paint I throw, etc. Doesn't matter here. I think the material I've used as my canvas plays a huge role here. Not only do I throw less on this piece, but it's a cork pinboard is what I've used as my surface here. So it dries a lot quicker. I don't need to throw as much on as a canvas. Once there's too much on, it tends to warp with the weight of the paint and move around and becomes more fluid. Whereas this, because it's a solid surface, different things are happening here. And I love it. It's super interesting. It's super interesting, and it just looks different to some of the other stuff I've been working on. Similar techniques and way of throwing paint. I am looking into ways that I can further develop my process, but at the moment I'm just having so much fun making art in this way, then I'm going to continue doing that until intuition leads me elsewhere. But yeah, I just wanted to say a little bit about what this piece is about, what I'm thinking at the moment. I sound like shit, super congested right now, but once this piece dries, what I love about why it dries so quick on this surface is I can work on it in the morning, and then almost in the evening it's pretty much dry. So at a stretch I could do 2 kind of sessions in one day, but I've just been doing 1 session a day, 1 kind of layer, and we're working through it. So I put this cardboard down and some masking tape. If this layer hasn't bled into the stage, which I'm looking under here, I think some of it might have, which isn't a huge deal. Once that dries, I can just go back over the stage. I've probably wanted to redo the stage anyway because it's quite light. I wanted to add more earthy tones, maybe a light brown, but we'll deal with that when we get there. For now, I'm just gonna let this dry and then peel this off, and we'll inspect the stage, see if it bled over. Might have to redo the stage, and then from there I will be carving into these mezzanines, the front panels, and darkening up just under, so there's a definite separation. So right now these kind of just blur together. I think it will help a lot. This is the mezzanine, this is the mezzanine. If underneath there's just kind of a dark shadow to make that pop forward a little more. So that, the odd rectangle along them, might do that, might not. And then I might do little lanterns, little lamps, little lights here and there. Again, once I get it up and I'll sit and look at it for a while, then I'll make those decisions, because I think that can make or break the piece. I think. Yeah. So, yeah. That's it. I've been working on this piece for a month, maybe, probably longer. I bounce around between a lot of different work, and sometimes I feel more inspired to work on something else, but I'm making a push to get this one done because 1, I'm having a lot of fun doing it. I think it's gonna look sick, and 2, I just need to get work finished so then I can post my content and then continue my progression and building my portfolio. Yeah, I guess that's it. It's probably a bit of a ramble session, but need to get all of that out. So yeah, stay tuned for the next session, the finished product, whatever comes first. I don't know how many more I'm gonna do, but let's do it. I've just done these areas to make the front panels of each mezzanine pop out a little more. I think it's working, but this area looked, I thought it looked really good last night when I just finished it, but obviously I couldn't digest the whole piece because I had layers covered. I had the top third and the bottom third covered, and it was on the floor, so it's hard to digest. But when I kind of see the whole thing, it dried a lot darker than it was, so it looked really good. These areas in here are too dark. This area is still wet, so it appears darker. It's going to dry even darker. So, I might have to lighten these areas up a little bit, but I'm just going to work on these. And I think I'm going to do the walkways. I attempted to depict them through the splatter because the rest of it is splattered. I thought it might look weird if that's the only thing that's like solidly painted. But now that I've done this, I've realized it doesn't really matter that I'm using a brush on top of my splatter, because it's just representing the light. So there's already the texture of the splatter here. I would just go over with a little bit of red and just bring it through, and then it's going to fade into darker and darker, and then pretty much black right at the top anyway. It looks fine with black because obviously dark is just light, whereas going in with straight red on here, I'm not sure how it's going to go, so I'm going to test it real quick. And then I'm going to do a little bit of a light right at the tip of that front panel, which hopefully makes it pop even more with the dark and then the light. First thing the light hits, and then I'll go in and do the rectangular kind of things. One of those. You could see I didn't tape very well, I didn't do that very well, but I kind of wanted to redo that anyway, so it's fine, it's whatever. It's coming together. I was pretty optimistic last night, thinking that it was looking really good and I was pretty happy with it, but coming in today and then getting it up and looking at it and actually realizing it's nowhere close to being good enough. So yeah, we'll keep chipping away at it, and yeah, it never takes as quick as you want it to take. Well, there's a saying, someone said, everything takes 3 times longer than you think it's going to take. This is no different. So yeah, I don't know what else I was going to say. We'll get there. So, whoa, chill. Forgot what I was going to say. Stage complete, maybe. I did a layer. I tried to add a little bit of color that matches the rest of it to kind of cohesively bring it all together, which I think I've achieved. I kind of been staring at it for a while, so I think it kind of works. Hopefully it doesn't dry too different. Sometimes it does dry a lot darker or just different than how it looks when it's still wet and drying. But I think with these colors that I've used, it shouldn't change that much. Whereas these colors up here did change quite a lot when it dried. But I got used to it and I forgot what it looked like before, so it doesn't matter. I think the stage is done. When it dries, we will see. I will make that decision of if it needs more. Most likely I will just leave it because I'm sick of working on this piece. Although I did have a lot of fun making that. Maybe I'm not sick of it. Anyway, I want to get it done. It's not the fact that I'm sick of it, it's the fact that I want to get it done. So then I can post it, get it out there, move on to something new. The only other things I need to add to it once the stage dries are some lights under here, and then some like rafters, or just some essentially lines and dots that'll represent light, just to add a little more structure, a little more interest, and to help with essentially they'll be contextual cues. Contextual cues. Third time lucky. Because a bit of the feedback that I've been getting from friends and family is they have no idea what it is. Just looking at it, I said, what is it? I've got stadium, I've got, I don't know what else, some random things that were said. Which is helpful feedback because, I mean, I know what I'm doing. I know what I'm trying to portray. And it's a matter of, without me being there, if this was just on a wall in a gallery in a museum, or even if you saw it on social media or whatever, can you tell what it is? Does it matter if you can tell what it is? Probably. That's probably an interesting question. But I don't really want to talk about that right now. I want to portray a certain narrative through this painting. I want it to be exactly what I was thinking about before I started this painting. And I think the conductor in the middle, once he's in there, maybe a little bit of a shadow going back onto the stage. Once he's there, and I have some lights and lines for kind of various sections, infrastructure of the building, then I think it'll pull it all together. I don't want to touch anything else with splatter. The conductor, centrally, I'm thinking about splattering him. And right now what I was going to do is a silhouette of him and then put some masking tape around it, probably block it in first and then put some masking tape around it and then splatter, just so I have the energy that would fit with the rest of the piece, rather than it feels like he's just kind of stuck on and I just paint him there solid. I want it to feel like the rest of the piece. So I think if I get him silhouette on and splatter some white and some grey on there, just so it's, how do I say this? I'm not sure. Just so he's there and he looks like he's with the rest of the painting, same style. And then I can go in and carve him some details so you actually know what it is, rather than just the silhouette of splatter. Or maybe that'll look cool on its own. We'll find out once it dries. And then we'll get that in. I think that's just the conductor with a bit of shadow and get some lights and some other infrastructure in there. And then hopefully that's done. I've been working on this piece for a while now, and yeah, it's been good. Just rambling now. But yeah, we'll see what you guys think. It's gonna be a long ass video. It's gonna be a long ass video. I don't know how much I'm gonna put in. Ideally, all of it. My plan with my long form YouTube stuff is minimal editing, because I'm lazy and because it'll be extremely time consuming for me to figure out what is worth keeping and what is just rubbish. Probably, nah, don't worry. 90% of it could probably just go, which is me just rambling, but I feel like that is almost the content that is the most lucrative, because it is the behind the scenes, it is the inside to my brain and what I'm putting out on this. I think the short form content should just be
little process videos, little snippets, maybe little cuts from my long form stuff. But my long form is long form, therefore I want to get as much of my ideas and my thoughts out unfiltered. Because who cares? I'm documenting my journey, my life, my thoughts. It's evidence that I existed, and why not? We'll see how many people actually watch it. Or even just, once I put it up, it just exists on YouTube for 10 years. No one sees it. And then all of a sudden I make one painting that is really good, but then you've got 10 years of work and ideas and content to look back on. I think you must. Long form content, what was it? Long form content builds the foundation and builds the long-term loyalty of a brand, personal brand. I don't know, just chatting shit at this point. There is some merit to what I'm saying, but these are other people's ideas that I've heard and regurgitating, so it's not an original idea. Is that even a thing? An original idea? It's got to come from somewhere. That's a different discussion altogether. But I'm going to let this dry, get out of here. And then when I come back, I will touch up the top layer. And then the final piece of the puzzle is El Conductor. Apparently he's Spanish. I don't know if it's supposed to represent me. It's not supposed to represent me. It's supposed to represent one who dares to dream. One who dares to lead. You must turn your back on the audience in order to lead the orchestra. Is the underlying idea to this painting. But there is no specific lens in which you look through. Fuck. You know? You know what I'm trying to say? It applies to anything. I'm gonna cut it there and just cut it right before I started trying to sound philosophical and poetic. You know. Yeah, let's cut it there. Final touches, I guess, been a long time coming. I thought this piece was going to take like 2-3 weeks max. That was five months ago. 5 months ago. Maybe four, maybe 5's generous. It ain't 2-3 weeks ago, I'd say that much. Yeah. Look at me, I'm so antsy, I'm just moving all the time. Well, I think it's turned out pretty cool. I was going to change the color of the shadow on the stage. if you can tell what it is without me telling you what it is, stage. But when I looked at it through the camera, it actually looks pretty good. So I might just leave it, I don't know. The last stage, no pun intended. The last part of this painting, I've got El Conductor. I don't know why I keep saying El Conductor, but I do. I have the Conductor, and that was the whole premise of this piece, was in order to lead the orchestra, you must turn your back on the audience, the crowd, the masses, the general population. In order to do something great, you don't have to lead a group, you have to lead yourself. You have to lead your life with intention. And in order to do that authentically and true to yourself, which is what authentically means, you must turn your back on the audience and the crowd and the mass population and what other people tell you you should do with your life. That hits home for me for a multitude of reasons. So this is why I like this piece so much. It wouldn't explain. Let's turn that down so then you can't hear it in the back. Blasting through my headphones. I've clearly got those too loud. This piece hits home for me. I think the idea behind it hits home for a lot of people. I think people these days are waking up more and more to realizing, what the hell am I doing with my life? If I'm going to be here for a short time and die anyway, why would I live someone else's perspective on what should be done with one's life?